Hello, I am Dr. Corey Yerokis, and I am a veterinary clinical pathologist and a member of the Zoetis digital cytology team working on the other side of your Imagyst. So I am there reading your cytology and hematology samples most of the day and sometimes into the night. And welcome to our series on tips and tricks on how to better improve your cytology techniques. This episode is going to be focused on our Imagyst, our little small package but mighty best friend, at least it is for me, and showing you some of the scan errors I see on my end and how we can address those. What they look like, I think, is so important. So let's take a look at this one. Sometimes what we get is a scan that is just blurry. We know that there is sample there. I can see it. It's stained nicely. It's a lovely lavender color. It's spread across the slide, but I can't see anything. So on my end, this is usually what it looks like when there's multiple cover slips that are present. Those little thin guys are sticky, so they do tend to stick together, and you can inadvertently put two on top. Or this will also happen if the slide is flipped upside down. So on my end, this is what I'm seeing when I'm typing to you that, hey, the sample is a little bit blurry. So you want to make sure that you absolutely have only one cover slip on those samples and that we're not putting the stain side down. How I usually like to avoid that is putting the, up or writing the patient name on the label side. So that way I'm pretty sure I know before I put the sample on. That way I know which side the sample is on. And that's going to be most important for cells that are, or samples that are of a lower cellularity or even lipomas or something where we're just not going to be able to tell easily which side of the slide the sample is on once it's stained. This is another blurry sample, but this one I know for sure is upside down because what I have is a beautifully spread and beautifully stained sample that is unfortunately all out of focus. And I have a lot of junk that's in focus. So I can usually see the glass etchings on the reverse side of the slide, and I can see debris on the back side of the slide. So I know for sure that this one is upside down. This one's a quick fix. Take the cover slip off, flip it over, put the cover slip back on, and we're good to go. Let's look at another example. This one, hopefully you can see it on your end too, but instead of using the one full slide length cover slip, what this sample actually has on it are two square, look like fecal cover slips that are squashed together. What the benefit of Imagyst is for me is that I can see the entire slide that you scanned. I can see the label, I can see the stage clips, which is what those kind of three little hooks coming out are. I can see the full length of your slide. I can see the cover slip edges. I know where that is. And I can also see your scanned area. I can look on the slide to see if there's maybe more cellular areas. So I get a complete overview of the slide that you scanned and not just your scanned area, which I think is so critical for helping troubleshoot. So in this case, I look at the smear, I look at the sample, and in the little square, you can see how fuzzy that is. I see that there are cells there, but I just can't tell why. But from the slide overview, what I can tell is that there are two square cover slips like we talked about before. And the problem with this one is the Imagyst specific cover slips are the full length of the slide, and they are a particular thickness for the Imagyst scanner. When we start to get away from those and use different cover slips or these little square fecal cover slips, the thickness is usually off, so the Imagyst can't scan and focus through them as well as it can for the cover slips that are specifically made for it. Those are provided to you free of charge from Zoetis. If you need more, just reach out to your representative. But this is something, it's so important for scan clarity to be using those cover slips. Sometimes, though, what is happening? Look at this one. I've got in focus areas, I've got blurry areas, I don't know what's happening, I've got overlapping tiles, something has gone awry here. And usually this is what happens when I either have a slide that did not get fully clipped into the stage, so it shifted a little bit, or the cover slip shifted like it's skating over a whole bunch of oil and it's just kind of rolling back and forth, kind of on the sea of oil. So if the cover slip gets wiggly, this is what I can see. The other times that this actually happens is if this Imagyst is sharing a tabletop with the centrifuge and the centrifuge is on, it's actually vibrating the table. And that can vibrate the Imagyst and it can vibrate the slide. And then this is kind of what I see, intermittent in focus areas with blurry areas. And unfortunately with this, I'm losing a lot of the field. So you want to make sure that the Imagyst is kind of on its own table, or maybe the centrifuge is out off by its side on its own table. There's nothing impeding the stage, that the slide is clipped in. And again, some of those things I can see, the centrifuge I can't, but this is just a great way to show what I can see on my end, what I'm looking for to help troubleshoot. And again, troubleshooting, your pathologist is going to know something is wrong with the slide the minute we pull it up. So we're going to be able to get a report back to you in a matter of minutes saying, this slide is out of focus. This is what I think is wrong. And then we'll work with you to figure out how to troubleshoot that. If we're still getting repeated blurry scans, which is so frustrating for us, and I'm sure for you as well, we do have the ability to call in our technical support team on our end. We have a little support button that we hit for you, and then they will reach out to you as well if it's something that we are trying. We've tried all of the tricks that I can suggest on my end, and we're just still not being successful. We do have a backup team to help troubleshoot those. And again, we can do these in a matter of minutes, which is so, so great. What about if we would have to look at a glass slide? When does that happen? Doesn't happen as frequently anymore, but a few times would be if we are getting repeated blurry scans and we just can't figure out why. We can send in the glass slide. We have members of the digital cytology team that do read glass slides as well, so that we can compare the digital images with the glass that we got. But usually now with our tech support team, this usually happens very minimally. Sometimes your pathologist may ask you for a glass slide if we're really highly suspicious of blood parasites and you're living in the continental US. We may ask you to send that slide into our digital team so that we can compare the glass findings with our suspicion of a blood parasite on Imagyst. It's very rare and few and far between that we ask for that, but sometimes those parasites are so small or are hiding so well. If we're really suspicious, we'll just take the glass slide and make sure that we scan the entire thing. And if we have any suspicion at all that there are, any parasites there, but those are really the only times that we would ask for glass, and it's often so few and far between that we rarely do it anymore. But you do have the option of sending in glass if we can't troubleshoot or if we have a suspicion that something else may be going on that we do need the glass for. But those would really be the only situations that we would do that. Hopefully, I'd really like to show the scan errors so that you can see what I see when I'm describing a scan error to you. And hopefully you realize, even if we do have a scan area, it's not a big deal. We're working in real time, which is really the biggest bonus of Imagyst, and we can get these issues ironed out, scans fixed, and then definitive interpretations back to you. So hopefully that helped just put kind of an image in your mind of what some of those scan errors look like, how I can help best troubleshoot with you, and show you that we can, we're going to work together to get these samples set and diagnostic for you and your patients. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this video today, and have a great day.